Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe. Hello and welcome to WrestleRamble. This is Luke Owen, I'm Ollie Davis, and today we're going to be talking about this week's episodes of Raw and Smackdown, including Samoa Joe choking out Paul Heyman and Lana-lina's re-debut on Smackdown and deciding which show was better. If you want to go straight to any of those discussions, along with who we thought beat up Big Cass, click the video links in the description below and go right there. Or stick here with us, where I will concede that we're not going to stick to time.
There were a lot of comments last week. Thank you all for proving me right. That you often just get into these funks where you're like, oh, we've got to do it 30 minutes. We've got to do 25 minutes. And then about 40 minutes in, we finished the Raw review. And you're like, oh, we didn't go 35 minutes. Like, no, we didn't.
Well, I think of all the things I like in life, and they're condensed, quality over quantity, 2-hour wrestling shows. Hell, give me a 1-hour NXT over most of the stuff. 1 hour ROH as well. I very much enjoy. So imagine if, and that's why most of the videos on WrestleTalk are these 4-5 minute long jump cutty, very fast things. But yeah, I guess this is a different nature of discussion. I'm just going to get used to it.
Mate.
Just going to get used to it.
The Ramble chat is a very different format.
Yeah, it's. I think it's getting over as well. Did you see on? I was going to tell you this before that we started recording, actually, but I brought it up now. On a WWE video on their YouTube channel, it was the Corey Graves and Kurt Angle talk about texting from this week's Raw.
Okay.
And someone very kindly commented #PushOllie.
Ah.
And it got upvoted by enough people where it was one of the top comments on the video. Someone pointed that out to me. I was like, oh, that's really nice.
Very nice.
Oh, look, some people have commented on that comment. I hope they're nice. Well, that was a nice one. Okay, that was pretty nasty what that person said about me and the way I talk. What's that? Push Luke.
Oh, yes, guys.
Push Luke.
Yes.
Not only is that a thing here now, it's broken through into the mainstream.
It is, man. I'm cracking through that glass ceiling.
Yeah.
I am the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. I am making history.
You're not Lana-lina.
No, I am not Lana-lina, although I have wormed my way into a title match. So thank you, guys.
It shows how niche we are, that our mainstream breakthrough is in the comment section of the WWE YouTube videos.
Absolutely. What was the mean comment you got?
Oh, I can't even. It's always the same stuff.
He sounds like a bit of a puff.
Why is he shouting at me? Is the most common thing? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, obviously I do yell in those videos, but I thought it's a good yell. Because
that's a good yell. I never feel like you're yelling at me.
I feel like on camera the yelling doesn't sound like I'm actually yelling. I mean, you've heard me. I bellow.
Oh yeah. I mean, we've done podcasts before where you have peaked.
Yeah.
Peak all the audio. But anyway, should we talk about Raw?
Let's talk about Raw, which, oh my god, was pretty darn good.
Yeah, it was all right this week, actually. I quite enjoyed it.
So, Extreme Rules we will talk about on Saturday's episode, which, of course, if you donate $5 or more on Patreon, you can see that on Friday, a whole 24 hours early. That we'll be talking about Extreme Rules, talking about our predictions, and more importantly, what's Samoa Joe going to do with Brock Lesnar? And how's that going to play out? And will it harm Samoa Joe? We'll find an answer, hopefully.
Absolutely, we will.
In a couple of days, which is actually immediately after this. But so if we don't talk about Extreme Rules that much here, that's why. Don't get too annoyed. But yes, we started off with a match. It still had a promo.
It did. I did clock in 10 minutes into the show. That was when the bell rang. So,
was it really?
Yeah, so including like all of the intro and everything.
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt's very long walk to the ramp. Walk to the ring, holding his lantern, with everyone doing the Firefly thing. So that, and then his promo. By the time Roman Reigns got down and the ding 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 happened, it was 10 minutes into the show. But it didn't. I mean, in all fairness, I did skip Bray Wyatt walking to the ring because it's like Undertaker at WrestleMania. You can, you know it's going to be a 15-20 minute walk.
Okay, well let's not take your views seriously then, because you missed out on loads of context.
Such as?
All the context of him walking to the ring.
Such as?
I don't know. Booker T might have said something insightful.
I can't remember, I was listening to a podcast or something, and someone said that they haven't, it was the Brian and Vinny show, and he said that he hadn't watched Raw in quite some time. He'd only been watching Smackdown, and then he watched the Extreme Rules pay-per-view, and the first thing he thought was like, oh god, I've not missed Michael Cole doing commentary.
Yeah. I had this sensation on SmackDown. I kind of forgot Byron Saxton was a part of the commentary team. And it was just like occasionally this disembodied voice that was neither Tom Phillips or JBL. And it was only at the end when Baron Corbin joined them on commentary. I was like, wait, there's another voice here.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like sometimes they... I don't know where that came from.
Speaking of which, are we going to assume now that David Otunga has lost his job? Because he was on the Extreme Rules pre-show, doing the panel discussion thing that they do. But yet, Shucky Ducky Quack Quack was back on commentary.
Don't rob the people of their impression.
Oh, Shucky Ducky Quack Quack. You're looking jacked, baby. On commentary, doing his Booker T-isms.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I've said some fairly nasty things about Booker T's commentary, but I think I'd rather have him than David Otunga, in all fairness, because, I mean, Otunga's... I mean, to call him a personality is strong, because that would suggest he has one. So, I mean, he is a disembodied voice.
He's got a wife.
Yeah, that's what he is.
He's got a famous wife.
He is Jennifer Husband.
I actually do like Byron Saxton.
I don't.
But I think the Mauro Ranallo situation is the worst thing that could have happened to him, because Byron Saxton's character works best when someone is
picking on him.
I thought the Corey Graves-Saxton dynamic on Raw was actually really good, and Byron Saxton played that nerd so well. Like, sometimes Corey would say something really mean, and Byron would innocently reply, "Oh yeah, because I did this," and it's actually funnier than what Corey said.
Yeah.
But now he doesn't have that dynamic, because they've obviously told JBL, stop terrorizing commentators.
Yeah. It also doesn't help as well that Byron Saxton is such a babyface that his whole... Because I hated him on NXT as well, because his whole thing is just like, oh, the heels are cheating. Oh, this is so unfair. And every time I'm like, shut up, Byron.
Yeah.
Shut up, mate. This is what heels do. Get over it.
Well, but you can have commentators that do that very well.
Jim Ross.
Do that. Jim Ross
Was great at doing it. My favourite Jim Ross, I think it's... God, I'm doing this whole thing again. I can remember when.
Yeah.
It's the WrestleMania 17 main event of Rock and Austin, and when they announced that it's no disqualification, and Jim Ross just sounds incensed, like standing over, going like, "Since when? Since when was this no disqualification?" It's so great
because he's so credible and believable.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm annoyed about this too. But these days, when and it's gonna be a kendo stick on a pole match or whatever.
Yeah.
You're like, okay.
But I think, so I think Byron doesn't have that credibility that Jim Ross has, because, I mean, who would? Did you see that segment on Impact when they had Josh Matthews and Jeremy Borash just standing in the ring talking about how great a commentator Jim Ross is? And I'm like, numbskulls, he works for the other company.
Well,
stop saying these things.
Maybe they thought he might jump ship at that point. When was that? Was that pre-WrestleMania?
No, it was like...
was it recent?
It's like 2 weeks ago on Impact. This is when Scott Steiner redebuted.
Oh, okay, so it was recent, yeah.
Yeah.
But,
anyway.
God, this is what happens when I don't have time pressures on my head. Back to Raw.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Roman Reigns, he did quite a nice thing where Bray Wyatt was talking and Roman Reigns was like, you know what? Shut up, mate. Boof.
Yeah.
Let's get the match started.
Sucker punch in there. It was good.
A few people I saw criticize that moment because that's a heel thing to do. You attack the heel before they advance on you. But I just thought I think that's because no one likes Roman Reigns.
I was going to say, I thought it was perfectly within Roman Reigns' character to just, this is my yard.
Yeah.
And his ridiculous new character that he is now, and just to sucker punch him in the face. I loved it because like my thing with Raw is just like, less talk, more action, and that's what it is. If he'd have come down there and cut a 5-minute promo on him and then they had a match, I'd have been like, all right, let's skip to the end, we know where this is going. But yeah, he just straight up punched him in the face. It was great.
It was kind of a microcosm of what actually happened in the match as well, because it was a good long match. Bray Wyatt got a decent amount of it. But then Roman Reigns pinned him clean.
Absolutely.
So that was... I really enjoyed this match. It was a great, really good way to open Raw, I thought.
Really good match.
In fact, best match on the show by a long way.
Here's a shocker. Roman Reigns had a good match.
Yeah. But him losing clean like that, I was like, but I thought... I know I shouldn't be surprised, but genuinely in that promo, I thought... Especially after Extreme Rules, and Bray looked really good in the main event. He was sort of the main focal point of all the aggression. And then he was just, beaten clean in the middle.
My beef with Reigns winning clean here is less about Roman Reigns winning clean, because I think that they could have done something better.
Yeah.
And I think Bray deserved better. And also, like Roman's gimmick is that he just always wins clean. That's what he's done.
Strong
he did it
gimmick.
he did it with Seth last week, and I think he did
It was Finn Balor.
Yeah, and he did it with Finn
Yeah.
Balor as well. That's just what Roman Reigns does. If you're in a match with Roman Reigns, you're eating the spear, you're looking at the lights. But in the main event, sorry to jump ahead, Samoa Joe really should have had that finish.
Yes.
Because Samoa Joe is facing Brock Lesnar at, goodness gracious, Great Balls of Fire. And he needs to be looking like a credible challenger to Brock Lesnar. I mean, he does, because he's a badass and he looks great and he kills dudes in the ring. So he's kind of got that credibility, but he needs to be winning matches, because he hasn't really done that since he came up to the main roster. And so I think for Seth to lose the match because of a Bray Wyatt interference, Joe didn't win that match, Bray Wyatt won that match.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really, I think that damages Joe going into his feud with Brock Lesnar. I think that if you're going to be booking Brock Lesnar, especially after, and we can talk about it in great detail, that awesome segment with him and Paul Heyman, what you needed was Joe to just come out and look like a complete and utter dominating destroyer. Put him in squash matches. That's what I would do. I would put him in squash matches where they get to no offense. He just goes in and just kills them. Even doing the put them down for 3, pick them up, beat them up some more, and then lock in the Conquista clutch. That would be great. What a brilliant way to push to push Samoa Joe.
I completely agree. Yeah, but I mean, you said it damages Samoa Joe not having him beat Seth Rollins clean. I don't think that so much damages him. I just think it doesn't do anything for him.
No, okay,
What does damage him is the long drawn-out match, because that was a 15-20-minute main event with Seth Rollins. It did just... imagine if Rollins went in there, after, like you said, after that Heyman promo, and just beat Seth Rollins in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Choked him out straight away, went for the leg because it's a Seth Rollins match. Seth Rollins doesn't get his dives in, and everyone's like, oh, wow. Doesn't really hurt Seth Rollins.
Not at all.
He can just come up at another time.
He's got 2 wins over Joe anyway, so it doesn't really hurt Seth to lose within 5 minutes. Also, it's not Seth's time to win at the moment. Joe is going in for the main event against Brock Lesnar. When it's Seth's time to win, he can get the big win over Joe and move down there. It's just that's kind of the way you've got to book these things. So I thought it was backwards booking.
Yeah, and the frustrating thing is WWE know this is what they should do.
Yeah, they did it in the main event. They did it in the opening match
in
with
the
Roman
opening
Reigns.
match and with Jinder Mahal.
Yeah,
How do
totally.
we take someone who's gone from nothing straight to a kind of legitimate main eventer? You just put everything behind him and make them win matches quite decisively.
On SmackDown this week, we'll talk about SmackDown later on, but he beat Mojo Rawley, because I'd imagine one of the things that keeps getting brought up was the dude lost to Mojo Rawley a few weeks ago, after WrestleMania. So they're like, all right, put him in against Mojo Rawley, and he wins decisively. Great. And that equals that out, and he looks great now.
Because we're already talking about Joe and Seth Rollins, and this is, one of the reasons this Raw was so good for me is because it had these storylines that went through the night. So it's kind of hard to just do a play-by-play. So how about we just talk about the Samoa Joe Paul Heyman?
I would love nothing more than to talk about this segment, because hot damn, this was a great segment.
So I put up the WrestleTalk Best of 2017 awards so far nominations.
Vote now, people.
Go and vote for those. Although I'm worried it's going to crash after 100 entries.
Why is that?
Because I'm not sure I'd signed up to the right plan.
Oh.
Yeah. If anyone was really following the Facebook page closely, 2 different polls went up when I realised those were also bad, and then I thought I had one. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, I put up best segment of the year so far, and someone tweeted with the options, and they were like, damn, I forgot that Festival of Friendship and the Samoa Joe Paul Heyman segment was in the same year.
Yeah.
That's how good that segment was.
So awesome.
Yeah.
It was great. Absolutely. Joe's promo at the start was brilliant.
Yeah.
And then when Paul Heyman came down, Paul Heyman was great, because I love how good Paul Heyman is at putting people over just by talking about them. When he was like, I came out and I said that Finn Balor winning would be awesome, and it would, because that puts over Finn Balor, and it certainly does, because that was best case scenario. You are worst case scenario, and all of a sudden you're like, oh man, Lesnar or Heyman is afraid of Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
that's great because as the mouthpiece for Brock Lesnar, that means Lesnar's afraid of Joe as well. Like, that was such an amazing job of putting him over just through that few lines there. Oh, it was wonderful. But then, like, my favourite thing of the whole was, Heyman goes to leave. Joe just puts the mic down. He's not there to cut a promo.
That was the best.
That was the best thing.
He was there to send a message.
Off mic, he was just there to send a message, and he literally just is grabbing it. It's so creepy because he's right up next to him. He's right, almost like holding onto his face, of being like, "I'm going to do this now. I'm going to grab you and I'm going to choke you out. Your eyes are going to roll into the back of your head.
Talk dirty to me.
You're going to be really short of breath.
Nice asphyxiation.
You are going to pass out.
Ah,
and then when you wake up, I want you to tell Brock Lesnar in excruciating detail what you felt, because that's what's going to happen to him." Oh, it was awesome.
It's money.
It was so good. And then when the crowd were going, "We want Brock, we want Brock," so do I.
Yeah, that was a great line.
Loved
and
it.
that's impro. That's how good Samoa Joe is. And I think shortly after this, Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle had a great face-off in the back, and then Seth Rollins comes in and is like, "I'm going to take you down because we've got such chemistry in the ring." And
it did groan. When he said, "The main event's going to be Samoa Joe, Seth Rollins," I went, "Oh, God, again."
Two great wrestlers who
Just
really
can't
don't
have
work
them.
that well together.
It's like Joe and Nakamura.
Yeah.
The pair of them, two amazing wrestlers, couldn't have a match together.
That's another reason for making it a 5-minute squash match main event. We wouldn't have had to sit through 15 to 20 minutes of pretty boring match.
But what did you make of the segment?
Oh, yeah, so when Joe walks away after Seth Rollins came in, Seth just walked away going, "The mistakes we make, Seth, the mistakes we make." And I was like, "Oh, I'm scared. What did you just do, Seth?" I thought, again, it was a great segment. Everything you said, I agree with. Everything everyone said. The chap who was ashamed that it was in the same year as Festival of Friendship. Festival of Friendship is way, 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 way much better in my opinion. But this was great. The difference is from the Finn Balor promo a few weeks earlier, which was also very, very good. But that was all really Paul Heyman, because as good as Finn Balor is, not that strong.
Talking
on the mic.
is not his strong suit.
But
I'm going to kick your teeth down your throat.
But because Joe is so good on the mic, Paul Heyman, so it was like, "Joe, here's my promo." Paul Heyman, I'm going to raise it up to here. And like I thought, I'll be happy for it to end here. But then they ramped it up a level because Joe is that good, and he took Paul Heyman's setup, which unfortunately is something Finn Balor can't do on the mic, and took it to the next level.
And that's kind of
Smashed through the glass ceiling.
And that's kind of why we were saying last week I didn't want Joe to win the 5-way, because I felt this was something you could really build to. I mean, I'm glad we're going to get to see it. I'm really glad that they were giving Samoa Joe that push, even if it is like on a B pay-per-view called Great Balls of Fire. But I'm such a Joe mark, and I just know that there's going to be such a great program leading up the next 5 weeks, especially because one of the great things about this promo is we have the reveal that Lesnar is back next week.
Oh,
and
yes,
as soon as Paul
of
Heyman
course.
said, "You've got to be here next week," I was like, I cannot wait to tune into Raw. I cannot wait to see what Lesnar is going to do.
And when was the last time you were like, "Oh, I want to fight"?
Can't
Well,
wait
probably
to-
the Superstar Shake-Up when they teased that the next week. But
that's because of like, oh, I wonder who's going to be trained. But this is literally like, I cannot wait to see.
invested in the story.
I'm so invested.
Yeah. The way Paul has Brock Lesnar's name saved in his phone is just Brock all in caps.
Yep.
And I think he didn't just say turn up next week.
Yeah.
It was like go on a rampage next week. So very much looking forward to that.
Do you know what my hope is?
Tell me.
Actually, this is partly my hope, partly not, because this is really damaging to the cruiserweights. I hope that the next week opens with a cruiserweight match, like between like Mustafa Ali and Arya Davari, and they have this sort of like, they maybe wrestle 3 minutes, and then Lesnar's music hits, and he just comes out and just F5s mothers all around. Dudes come running out to stop him. F5s all around.
Got to F5 the goons.
Oh, F5. Yeah, suplex cities all the goons. Oh, it'd be so good. And Lesnar just Heyman just walking around the ring screaming, "This is what you get, Joe. This is what you get."
Well, to sow a seed for later on, as he's doing that, of course, Kurt Angle's going to run down. He's going to be like, stop. Don't have a physical interaction. You can have that later. But you get the Brock-Kurt face-to-face.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, I mean, I think you got Kurt coming down and be like, "You got to stop this," and then Joe just storming down behind him, just pushing Angle out of the way to get into the ring.
Kurt's got so much history with both those guys.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, God. I can't wait for next week.
Yeah, God, I can't remember the last time I was invested in a storyline.
I know,
like
right?
this. I mean, Braun Strowman was entertaining from a what ridiculous thing is he going to do next week. But this is like I've watched a movie and I like the characters and I like the plot and there's mystery and intrigue and I want to see what happens next. It's not like I'm watching an action film. I want to see more explosions. It's I want to see what happens.
Yeah,
so that's
totally.
and that's what storytelling should be.
What else was on the show?
So I'm going to run through a bit of inconsequential things just to get those out of the way. Sheamus and Cesaro beat Heath Slater and Rhino.
Yeah, they did.
Matt Hardy's next child is going to get born very shortly, so they've got time off. Apparently, they're going to be working a reduced schedule as well. Kalisto beat Titus O'Neil.
Yep. I at least liked that Kalisto won by pulling the trunks, and then you had Apollo Crews outside laughing. I like that. I quite like this little mini storyline.
I think it's a story that could be told so much better.
Well, that is like Raw to a T.
But it could be told so much better even within the time constraints they had. So
it was a nothing match, but I quite like the finish.
Speaking of nothing matches, TJP beat Mustafa Ali.
I mean, talk about two lads that like were not bothered about getting out of second gear. They just if you're going to have the cruiserweight,
it's like go out and have a 2-minute match.
Well,
all right, no one's going to like us anyway. You've got the purple ropes up. We're not going to get a reaction. It's actually just a setup to Neville. We're going to go and break our back.
The daft thing is, the whole idea behind putting the cruiserweights on Raw was to build up to 205 Live and was to make you want to tune into 205 Live. The where the daftness comes in there is that you tune into 205 Live and they're having these amazing matches. Dinguses, just put the amazing matches onto Raw and then make them want to watch more amazing matches on 205 Live rather than doing these 2-minute nothing matches. We'd be like, what was the point of me tuning in for 205 Live then? Why should I dump down my $9.99 a month, even with my 33 days, to go and check out a show which has got matches with 2-minute losers?
Especially after that point, I would have already watched 5 hours of wrestling in 2 days.
Yeah.
That happened. That was just to set up the Neville TJP match. Neville won on 205 Live.
That's good. Did you watch the match?
I watched the final sequence.
I've heard that it was good. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
It was a nice... they were just rolling all around each other trying to lock in the rings of Saturn. It was quite inventive. Alexa Bliss beat Nia Jax. This was one of the storylines that wove through the night. Alexa Bliss said at one point to Kurt Angle, I beat Bayley last night. Let's do a Alexa, this is your life segment. And Kurt's like, no, because that was one of the worst segments of all time last week.
Yeah, they sort of buried themselves really a little bit.
Second time in 2 days because they did the same on Extreme Rules.
Yeah,
where
pretty
Bayley
much.
was like, she's a rubbish person. Did you see that segment?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, we did, unfortunately. Yeah. So Alexa Bliss walks around backstage, kind of tricks Mickie James and the lovely Dana Brooke to come down to ringside.
Be still my beating heart.
Yeah. And that sort of played into her getting disqualified. No, sorry. They hit her. She provoked them into hitting her. So Nia Jax got disqualified. DQ win to Alexa.
Yeah, I think we've just seen this with The Miz and Dean Ambrose. So don't really need to see it again. But I tell you what, actually, the other thing I was going to say about this show as a whole, what a great crowd.
Yeah, it was a good crowd. Yeah.
And they popped huge for Roman Reigns as well. There were very few boos for him. Everyone was super into Roman. And
oh no, I remember a big boo moment.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it did happen. Because Bray almost came off like a baby face. I think he was running through all the people who he could have beat in the Fatal 5-Way. When he said Roman Reigns' name, everyone was like, boo!
But when his music hit, it was an overwhelming cheer. And he was cheered throughout the match.
Not just house shows.
Not just house shows.
Just the house shows.
It's that Michael Hayes thing. If you've ever seen the Royal Rumble documentary they did, the true story behind the Royal Rumble thing, they released on DVD. It should have been a network special. But there's a clip, I think it's from the 2000... it's the Rumble where Reigns won and The Rock came out to endorse him and everyone booed it.
2014?
Might be 2014.
Maybe.
Yeah. But you cut backstage, or there's like a gorilla position thing, and there's Michael Hayes sitting there going like, we can't book things for just one city. We're a global organisation.
What ridiculous outfit was he wearing? Purple tracksuit?
I can't even remember. I just remember him just being like, we're just kind of listening to this crowd. We're not booking for one town. We're booking for the whole world. I'm like, yeah, but the whole world boos him, so book for that world.
Yeah, well, it's baffling. So there were 3 other... This was the great thing about the show. Again, I've said it before. All these storylines wove through the night. The other one being The Miz and Dean Ambrose and the Drifter.
Yeah.
Which I loved.
Oh, yeah? Oh, you're that guy.
Did you not?
No, I thought it was fine. I like the Drifter stuff. I've turned a corner on Elias Sampson. I really have.
I think he's decent.
Yeah. And they've dropped the Drifter gimmick. Like, he's just who wants to walk with Elias, which is...
That is a shame.
But it's good because, like, the thing with the Drifter was that he was a homeless man who just drifted from city to city. But yet Corey Graves on commentary when he was in NXT just kept going like, how did he get here? How did he get here? How did he afford a plane ticket? He hasn't got a job.
They always have it in the same place.
Well, I know, but even when he was like on NXT,
on
house shows
takeovers.
and stuff,
Oh, right.
he's like, yeah, I see him around house shows. How does he get there?
Yeah.
This is stupid. I hate this guy.
Well, I quite like the idea of someone just wandering around backstage because it shows, and again, that was the other good part of this show, that wrestlers were interacting in different people's storylines. It wasn't just this is who you're feuding with, so you will only have matches and only appear in backstage segments with this person. It was like, I'm Dean Ambrose, I'm going to walk, and the Revival's behind me, and I walked into the arena as Kurt Angle was leaving, which was part of another storyline.
Try and make it feel like a little world. Like
it's a universe.
The MCU, it's all it's all connected.
Like it's a TV show. So this started, of course, with Elias Sampson's in-ring song. Dean Ambrose came out, beat him up, and then Kurt's like, you can't have your rematch with Miz because the Miz has already got this celebration planned. Go home to cool off. And Dean does some endearingly wacky stuff rather than annoyingly wacky stuff, and he goes away.
Change.
Miz and Maurice do a terrific segment, I think, where you've got all these red herrings planted around the ring.
That was good, yeah.
You've got the guy in the bear suit. You've got, I think there was a table as well. I was like, who's in the table? And then you had a big present, a human-sized present wheeled down to the ring. And Miz, of course, got progressively more paranoid, attacked the bear, attacked the present in spectacular fashion, including some Ric Flair-style like elbow drop in it was a grandfather clock that Maurice got him. And then he gets in the ring, and I'm like, so where's he going to come from? And this is because I'm sometimes pretty dumb. A lot of the time, I'm pretty dumb. And there's a guy standing there filming, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, where is Dean Ambrose going to get? Surely he's going to come out. And it wasn't until Miz realised that I also realised it was the cameraman who was standing quite clearly there in the hard cam shot. So you didn't like this segment?
My favourite moment of the segment was when the crowd was chanting, you deserve it. And he was like, that would mean so much more if you didn't say it to every single person.
It's a good opening line.
It's a great opening line.
The whole crowd kind of went, fair play, actually.
Yeah, you're right.
You're right, mate.
You're right. We were doing it ironically for you as well, but you shut us down there.
Yeah.
Well played, Miz.
So you seem
I
quite
thought it was fine. It's just I didn't think it was like I didn't think it was like an all-time great segment. I didn't think it was a great segment either. I thought it was a good segment. I enjoyed it. I think it's because I'm just over the Dean Ambrose Miz feud now that I'm so uninvested in seeing them wrestle. Just again, the fact that this feud must continue did make me just kind of go, oh God. Like at least Elias in there does add a new like make it a triangle to it like that. That'd be good. Which is kind of why I'd have preferred at Extreme Rules review coming on Sunday. Donate $5, you get to see it on Saturday. No, sorry, Friday and see it on Sunday.
That's
donate.
all wrong.
Yeah, it's all wrong. Just donate, mate. Give us Patreon money. Clearly, we need it. I'd have
we really need a schedule that we can refer to.
Just print it up at the side of the camera. Like for Elias to have got involved in the Extreme Rules match to kind of like kick. He's already like been involved there, so I think him being involved in the finish would have furthered that as a triangle feud, as opposed to this still really feeling like a Miz Dean Ambrose feud with the Drifter orbiting around it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree on that much at least. The other two big elements of this were the seemingly entwined stories, or at least they wove into each other, and maybe they're connected on a larger level, is who beat up Big Cass and what is Kurt Angle hiding with this text mystery. No clues were given about the Angle stuff, and we kind of covered that last week. Nothing's really changed. The biggest thing that happened was Kurt actually interrupted a link from Michael Cole to the camera in the arena so Corey Graves could talk to him, which just felt really fresh and unpredictable. Yeah. Back when Raw used to, in the Attitude Era, it felt like things just happened. Nowadays, they just seem like everything is following a script
everything
robotically.
Is a script, yeah.
That at least felt real.
It's cool, I liked it.
But the real plot-thickening bit is, after week of Enzo being found laying out in the backstage area, now we have one of the prime suspects, Big Cass. I mean, who beat up Big Cass?
Well, that's the thing. It's like, did you hear what the rumor is? Is that it's Enzo, and it was always Enzo, and that he faked being attacked the first 2 weeks, and he's going to be the one that turns heel instead, and reveal that he then attacked Big Cass.
Enzo could be a good heel, but now's not the time because he's so good. He could be a really good solo act cruiserweight. Unfortunately, he said that he was 206 rather than 205. Why would you?
Because, bearing in mind, weights are made up anyway, so they could just say that he's...
Don't have a burger next week, and then maybe you can make weight. It's a shame because I think he'd excel in the cruiserweight division because they need kind of stars, not just wrestlers. But really, Enzo...
That was what I heard theorized on another show, which I thought was a really nice, and actually it makes all the sense in the world as well that he faked the attacks the first 2 weeks now, and now because Cass said in the promo that I'm not leaving this guy's side, so the only person theoretically who could have attacked him is Enzo.
I guess so,
but then there's the Big Show element in there as
which
well.
Which has been introduced this week. When Big Cass was taken out, Enzo found Big Show for his replacement in the Glanderson match.
And it makes sense for Big Show as well, because the whole thing is that he's 7 foot tall and you can't teach that. And Big Show's
both got big in the name.
Big Show's like, I'm 7 foot tall. Like, I'm the giant round here. You're just some dweeb from Staten Island or wherever he's from. Get out of town. I think is he from New Jersey? I think he's from... No, he's from...
Carmella's from Staten Island.
That's right, yeah.
She's royalty over there.
She is indeed. Yeah, she's the princess of it. He's definitely from... I think he's from Queens, actually. New Yorkers will probably be able to correct me now, but I think he's from Queens.
So I read Cage Side Seats' review of Raw, and they were going through a few options, and they had a great line at the end which said, but knowing the history of WWE, it's going to be the least interesting one. I was like, oh, yeah, it probably is, actually, when this is all said and done. So
It'll be the Revival.
It'll be a Revival. So the Revival is still an option. Glanderson, of course. Big Show, you said. Enzo Amore, weirdly. I don't think that. My first impression when I saw Big Cass, and it could just be bad stage dressing, I genuinely thought when Enzo was attacked both times, I thought, that looks like a real beat-up. Like, they've actually looks pretty good. But when Cass was shown beaten up, he was just lying face down. He had a bar across his back and there was a chain in his hand.
Yeah, and that plays into
I thought that
the
was
idea,
very orchestrated.
That plays into the idea as well, if it is Big Cass, which is very much still a possibility, that if it is, it kind of fuels his fire because Enzo didn't come backstage and be like, dude, are you okay? We need to get you to hospital. He came out and said like, oh, we got a match. I'll have to find someone else. And then he found the Big Show. He found literally a Big Cass replacement. And that fuels Cass's motivations of being like, you don't care about me. I look after you like a little brother. Yeah. But the second I was down, you went and found someone else. You just went and found another giant. So that really works for it as well.
I mean, I really do hope that they tease this and then really it turns out not to be either Cass and Enzo, and as a result of that, Enzo and Cass are made strong. You know, like Big Cass is like, no, I am gonna save Enzo, or when they tease dissension and there's a big babyface save, and that kind of rejuvenates Big Cass and Enzo again as an act.
It's a bit like when oh god, I hate being...
Remember
when back in my day we wore an onion on my belt, which was the style of the... So it's Sting and the NWO.
Sure.
During that period when Sting went into the Crow version of the Sting, and the WCW guys kept being like, "You're working with the NWO. You're working with them," and he's like, "I'm not working with NWO." And he kept going down, and he would like beat up NWO dudes in front of them, being like, "What do I have to do to prove I'm not working with them?" So I think that'd be great because then when Sting did fight against the NWO, it was like, "Oh my God, Sting is our savior." So I hope that this angle does last until SummerSlam.
Well, that's 2 months worth.
I think that you can get 2 months worth out of this and build it into a really hot angle for SummerSlam. Because that's sometimes what WWE misses out on is like really hot undercards or mid-card feuds that have a good storyline leading into it.
The one good thing Vince Russo was good at,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just like everyone has a story. So even if you watch any pay-per-view from the Attitude Era, very rarely are they just like, oh, these two lads are having a match, or these two girls are having a match. It's like, no, there are 4 weeks worth of storyline that's built up to this match.
Yeah.
And if you want to see the next 4 weeks of storyline, you better tune into Raw. So I think that'd be really good for SummerSlam.
So I've got a few more names here, just quickly. I've got Kurt Angle as a potential attacker of Cass. That might be why he's on the phone all the time. American Alpha has been thrown around.
Yeah, they haven't been on TV.
The Renegade Act and have jumped ship.
Yeah, haven't been on TV for weeks. That'd be great for them because they could do with a real rejuvenation of character.
Now, I was just writing down names after a while, and I wrote down Authors of Pain.
Yeah, I mean, so that'd be great, but
not with the revival.
No, but also I would say that it's. You can't be bringing up too many acts from NXT at the moment. You need to kind of rebuild this version of NXT. That's why Asuka needs to stay there. That's why Bobby Roode needs to stay there for kind of the time being. Because you need to kind of build around them before you. I don't want to see any more NXT stars jumping up until WrestleMania. Really,
or this second draft in there.
Yeah, or the second draft, absolutely.
And finally, I've written down Braun Strowman. Now, I'm not sure how that would work because Braun Strowman should announce that he's going to beat up people.
I was going to say,
he wouldn't do it sneakily.
Yeah, that's not Braun's way. Braun would just run in and go, "I'm not finished with you." When they're still
chuck
down.
An ambulance on them. Who are you going to choose then? You've got to choose one.
Have I got to choose one now?
Because I'm going to go for Revival. I still
you're
think
going.
it's
You're
Revival.
going the Revival. I'm going to go Cass. I've said Cass. I'm sticking with Cass.
Of course, as we've said many times so far in this video cast, if you want to watch Saturday's episode, which will be the Extreme Rules kind of recap and our thoughts on the Samoa Joe Brock Lesnar feud, if you go over to Patreon and you donate $5 a month or more to WrestleTalk, you will get to see that on Friday, a whole 24 hours before anybody else. And the podcast, by the way, which was our last target, we got to $1,000 a month. Working on it.
Yes, we are working on it.
Just waiting on someone to literally send me a login, and then I can start uploading stuff.
And I would say as well that if you do get to watch the WrestleRambles 24 hours early, there is nothing sweeter than going onto Twitter, using a hashtag WrestleRamble and being like, "Oh, guess what I'm watching?"
Yeah.
Hey guys, guess what I'm watching early? Because I'm one of the cool kids.
And you know what else you can do? You can comment on that video with the word first. And that is prime currency in YouTube.
Absolutely.
To be the first person to see something, oh my. So, Smackdown now. Good opening segment with the long-awaited debut, much quicker than Emelina's 50-whatever weeks. I can't remember how long that was now. It was a long time.
Yeah.
Was it like 18 weeks, 13 weeks? Can't remember. But Lana has debuted after just a mere six weeks to 2 months.
With a very wacky entrance music.
Yeah. I made my lip tickle when I did that. So she came out as repackaged as the dancer character. I was like, this is fine. It seems what they're doing is using her as a juxtaposition against the rest of the women's wrestlers who are all there on merit. They're not the divas ones anymore. They can actually go, they can actually wrestle. And now here's someone, a throwback to the pre-revolution days. We're not going to have any of that. They even started laughing at her when she wanted to be added to the Money in the Bank match.
Do you know what? The only way that didn't work... Because like Naomi's there doing like that, and you got did you see Becky Lynch and doing like weed motions?
No, I believe so. This is a thing where if people just drink tea, like they were drinking tea.
Oh, is that what they were doing? It's the Kermit the Frog meme of that's none of my business.
Yeah,
I thought they were like, she is high, mate. She is high as a kite.
I didn't think of that, but that explains why that shot has been edited out of the YouTube
Is it
version.
Really?
Yeah, so if you go and watch the clip of this on WWE's YouTube channel, it's a shot of Natalia's reaction rather than that thing. But everyone's been going like, this is brilliant. What a brilliant reaction on Twitter. So that must be why they've taken it out. I thought they were just being weird. You can't improvise! Because that's what they do to the New Day a lot.
But the point I was going to make was that the only reason this kind of didn't really work is that you got all these women in the ring kind of laughing at Lana, being like, look at this doofus wants to get into the Money in the Bank match. Am I right, guys? Look at her. Crowd are super into Lana. Because as soon as she came out, huge pop. I want to be in the Money in the Bank. Yes. Yeah, we want it. And then you got all these girls going like, look at this person. We don't want her in the match. Yeah. And we're like, no, we do. She's great. Don't laugh at her. She's awesome. So it kind of failed on that level because you can't predict the way a crowd's going to go. I imagine, and because this is true, in WWE in the script form, they probably did brackets wait for crowd to boo.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do, is they insert crowd reactions into the script based on what they think the crowd will do.
They should have probably put a reason for people to boo her then, because she just came out with some funky entrance music, looking very attractive in a blue sparkly dress.
And it's a new star, so of course they're going to get a babyface pop.
Something fresh.
Yeah.
Ooh. The other thing is Naomi's stifled laughter was like GCSE drama level of annoying.
She had a bad night.
Yeah.
She had a very bad night. I'm a big Naomi fan.
Yeah.
But she had a bad night.
She wasn't lit. She was slightly
I saw
dimmed.
you mentioned this on Twitter that you're not sure what it means. I mean, don't look at me. I don't know what it means either.
I think it means very good. I just say this sometimes too because I don't like how fast the world moves and new words scare me. So I play up the cantankerous old fogey.
Just tie an onion into the belt.
I'm actually pretty
because
hip.
it was the style at the time.
I'm pretty hip. I know what woke means. I know what ish means as well, thanks to all the YouTube commenters. Is H.
Is H.
The other real missed opportunity of this is that she's still got the Russian accent. Because you've had a big revamp of the character.
You think they're dropping that completely?
They did it with Kofi. Like it'll be 2 weeks of haha, isn't that funny? Because she used to have a Russian accent, and then it will be now she can talk normally, and she's actually pretty good on the mic, and she's
from California,
yeah. But no, now it's like this weird Franken gimmick where you're still the ravishing Russian, and you're also this Sable-like dancer.
This dancer lass who, going by footage from NXT house shows, cannot dance, which is weird because she's a dancer in extracurricular work. She should be able to do this gimmick.
Well, it's obviously the Emma. That's why we keep calling her Lana-lina. It's the recycled Emma-lina character, which Emma couldn't pull off, and Pro Wrestling Sheet reported at the time that WWE have invested so much creative energy in this, and Vince McMahon obviously likes it so much, they're just going to give it to someone else. Mm-hmm. And when Rusev and Lana get drafted to SmackDown, but keep the Russian accent.
I wonder if we're ever going to give a reason as to why they're not a pair anymore.
See? No, we're not. But you could have just... That's why you can drop the Russian accent.
Well, no, because you got people like me going like, why did this act split up? I really liked that act.
Yeah.
Also, where is Rusev? Hashtag where's Rusev? He hasn't been on TV now for like ages. He promised he'd be back like 3 weeks ago. Where is he?
Do you want me to... I'll go into the story. I don't know if you've been facetious.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay, so...
I mean, I don't want to come across mean, but sometimes I don't have time to watch all your videos.
Man, that's fine.
I'm pretty sorry.
I put out a lot of stuff, and not all of it's good.
It's been a very busy week. I'm very sorry.
So Rusev was cutting those promos because he was going to face Randy Orton at Money in the Bank for the title, but then they suddenly decided the week before Backlash that, let's go with Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal's going to win, and then they flip-flop loads. That's why Rusev didn't appear on the Go Home show, despite saying that he would, because he is still
We talked about this last week, yeah.
But then, so since they decided to go with Jinder, that means Randy's getting the rematch at Money in the Bank, and Creative don't currently have anything for Rusev. They're still trying to figure out what to do. Hopefully he gets added to the Money in the Bank match itself. I think that would be the best place for him.
Yeah, that's how I'd have done it. I mean, we talked about this when they announced the Money in the Bank match, that I would have done like a series of tournament matches, a series of entry matches, because then that would have been a good way for people like Luke Harper, Ty Dillinger, because, good Lord, where's Ty?
Yeah,
what happens?
Right.
Hashtag where's Ty? Hashtag where's Luke?
We don't need to
hashtag where's Rowan?
We don't need to hashtag.
Where is the SmackDown mid-card?
The hashtags really work because I would put the apostrophe in for
no, you
where
don't, because
is.
that will break it. So when they did like hashtag where's Ray for Star Wars The Force Awakens, there was a lot of grammatical error Twitter hashtags going on.
Speaking of Luke Harper and Push Luke, and it was his hometown this week, but when Shane McMahon was talking to Mojo Rawley about people who haven't had chances recently, he ran through Ty Dillinger. He said Luke Harper, huge pop, wasn't even on the show in his hometown.
I mean, he'd have lost anyway, but still.
He would have lost, good point. But going from meritocracy and people winning stuff based on, or getting championship opportunities based on merit, Lana-lina just got a title match after everyone laughing that she couldn't wrestle.
Naomi did ask for it. And that was the best way to do it, really, was that Lana came down, tripped her up, and then Naomi, super mad backstage, was like, I want a match with that girl, and I will even put my title on the line. Perfect, because that gets around what you said last week of the land of opportunity. So she is going to get her championship opportunity.
Yeah.
And I'm stoked. This is shaping up to be a pretty good card.
Yeah, Money in the Bank matches are always good. It's just going to be very heavy at the top.
Yeah, I mean, you've got all your stuff, but here's the thing. We just listed off a load of names that you could have created storylines for within the next, because it's in 2 weeks' time?
Yeah, it's June 18th.
June 18th. Crikey, that's soon, mate. Next week's the go-home show.
Thick and fast.
Next week is the go-home show for Money in the Bank.
That's not right.
That is, yeah, because next Friday's the 16th.
It's the 10th.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So next
every
week's
2 weeks now.
So
isn't it?
we could have used some of this time to build an undercard feud. Maybe something for Ty Dillinger. Maybe something for a Luke Harper. Maybe something for an Eric Rowan.
Yeah.
Even something for the Fashion Police. Put them into another feud outside. Rather than, because this it bugs the bugs the S word out of me. Oof. When as soon as you're out of the title picture, then you have no feuds. Happens with the women all the time. Well, it happens with the women on Raw anyway.
Well, because we're playing a bit Memento-style structure, let's skip the... Well, actually, we can just talk about the AJ Styles-Dolph Ziggler match. It's a pretty good 5-minute match.
Fun little 5-minute match. Here's a shocker. AJ Styles is very, very good.
I was... because people say, 10-minute, 15-minute, 20-minute matches on TV. This, and you can have good and bad variants of those lengths of matches. This was a cracking 5-minute match. You can't get much better. It was well thought out. AJ had a nice spot where last week's match played into the finish of this one. He hit a Styles Clash and won with it.
Yep, and I like that as well. AJ needs to win matches with the Styles Clash, with the forearm, with the calf crusher, because that then builds up a repertoire that when he does hit it, those near falls will mean something.
Yeah.
Oh, it was great. I thought it was a really,
that was a good match.
A really fun little segment. And AJ Styles got his win back after last week where he idiotically lost to Dolph Ziggler.
50-50 booking. But
gets no one over.
Should we make a jingle?
Oh, 50-50 booking.
When you eventually start full time,
it's
going to go jingle crazy up in here.
Mate, Jinglemania.
So Fashion Files, which we're just going to go on to. This was, for me, the best Fashion Files skit so far.
I laughed a lot, and even actually I laughed out loud at the opening shot when it tracked down and it was like, here's looking at you, Billy Kid. Man, a picture of Billy Kidman up there. Laughed my ass off. I thought it was really funny.
There were many great jokes in this, and the great thing is they're cheesy gags. You can see the setup. They've been done a million times before, but what makes it different is the delivery and the people who are performing them. We don't take bribes. We're not going to wear this. Tyler Breeze just walks in wearing it. It looks pretty good, actually. Oh my God, so everyone's really good. Fandango is operating on another level.
And here's the thing. So a couple of weeks back, when the Fashion Police first won the Beat the Clock Challenge thing, I said to you they were on Talking Smack, and I really didn't like Fandango, and I thought he came across very bad. He is so good. You're right. He is on another level. And actually, I'm going to take back what I just said previously. They are doing an undercard feud for the Fashion Police because
who trashed the office?
The file is still open. It wasn't the colognes.
It wasn't
the Cologne.
It wasn't the Cologne.
No, it wasn't. No, but
that
we
was
are
good as well.
close.
Oh man, the wordplay that someone sits down and writes these scripts off the back of improv. Yeah, I think they just go back and forth and trying to come up with stuff, and then they write down, and that way you get the really good wordplay as well.
So good.
There was the great bit when New Day came in, and it was colour outside when they walked into the office. As Big E pointed out, it's black and white. It's black and white.
So good.
We're both the white guys. So good we pointed that out.
Yeah.
So that was very good. And I said in my review that if this was just the Law and Order skit over and over again, it would still be funny, I bet, but it would have started to get a little bit tired. But they've transitioned it into a film noir, which is much better because you get so much more to play with the stupid voice over the interior monologue, the black and white.
They're just staring at them because they can't hear the interior monologue.
Oh, that was my favourite joke.
So good.
When they didn't, we're gonna leave now?
Yeah.
We're gonna... And New Day acted that perfectly as well.
So good. I said it last week. I'm so happy to see the New Day back.
Yeah.
Just a few weeks off TV. I know Kofi was injured, but just a few weeks off TV. They've come back. All of a sudden, I'm like, it's so good to see the New Day back again. I'm really glad to see them, and especially when they're in segments like this. What style of cop show do you think they'll parody next?
I hope they stick with film noir.
You think they should do the gumshoe stuff?
I think that the way to continue to develop the format so it doesn't get stale is to bring in other wrestlers and acts. So you had the New Day pop in this week. That's funny. If they if they, I don't even know, if they team up with Mojo Rawley one week and you play off those dynamics with each other, the film noir is the most richest thing to parody because it's the most embedded in the cultural mindset, since the 40s, late 30s. So I wouldn't. But if I had to, Space Precinct.
You're so into
Really.
So listeners to the Flicker Myth podcast will know that Ollie's always had this dream movie of doing a Green Lantern film, which is basically a police procedural in space. So that's what you said you want to do, is you want to move your Green Lantern dream movie into the WWE and do it with Breezango.
I just want Space Precinct back.
Also, who do you think trashed The Office then? Who, if it wasn't the Colognes,
So,
who was it? Another mystery.
Yeah, it's nice. So you've got it's not the Colognes. Pretty sure it's not the Usos. I thought it could be the New Day coming out of that. I guess American Alpha haven't been around. It's probably American Alpha.
I think it's American Alpha.
But
that
would
be my
have to
guess.
Be the heels.
But I think that's what they need. They need that heel turn to kind of like just give them that little jolt of that. Because I think that'd be great if and it makes sense as well because the Fashion Police stole their championship opportunity when they won the Beat the Clock challenge, and they haven't been seen since. So perhaps they've just been plotting their revenge, and that's how they got it back, by destroying the Office, and then they can just show up next week on SmackDown and destroy these fools and just look awesome, because American Alpha are so good, and it would be great because they could just wrestle rings around these guys.
Yeah.
And they're like all four are very good wrestlers, but they'll be doing comedy stuff, and the American Alpha would just come down and just shut that down.
Alpha are good at comedy, but yeah,
that'd be so good if they came in. Essentially, what the Usos did, the Uggos, just come in and just shut this comedy down, because we are serious and we are not going to stand for your. It was Tommy Lee Jones. To Jim Carrey when they were on set of Batman Forever. It was, I will not stand for your buffoonery.
When you said Tommy Lee Jones, I thought, is he going to go with No Country for Old Men direction?
No, of course not.
It's Batman Forever.
I'm going to reference Batman Forever.
I think American Alpha would be good foils, but just what a deep depth of tag team talent they've got right now. Obviously, the Usos are good. What did you think about their promo this week?
Yeah, I like him. I've said I like the Usos.
Great promo.
Yeah.
They were cutting the joke. We can be funny too, but they're still kind of threatening that. You've got New Day, who are not doing anything above and beyond, but sometimes you just need to do the solid act that you've got and let the other people shine, and that's exactly what they did. They were the straight men. It's weird to think of the New Day, the wacky New Day, as effectively the straight men for both the Uggos and Breezango.
Love their new gimmick of pouring cereal into people's mouths as well while they come down the aisle. Then that's great.
The New Day then, of course, beat the Colognes, the Colognes, and you had that Usos promo afterwards. Jinder Mahal beat Mojo Rawley. Mojo Rawley very nobly went backstage. He's a lot more endearing when he isn't hype. And he just cut a normal
you
promo.
say that, I still find him unbearably annoying.
Oh, do you?
I don't like Mojo. I never have.
Oh, I thought he was quite okay.
But no, I don't. Poor lad as well. I mean, in kayfabe terms, having to carry that statue around with him from city to city and not get used. But yeah, like he was backstage with Shane O'Mac. What up, Atlanta? And then we're just, saying like, oh, I haven't. All I'm asking is for a chance. I did prefer him when he was like, I'm just asking for a chance. And he was like, well, I'm going to give you a match against Jinder Mahal. And I was like, oh, my boy Jinder. My boy Jinder is going to squash this fool, and it's going to be great. And it was fine.
It was rake in the eyes.
It was television.
Slam.
It was a television match.
And Randy Orton it seems like he's going to have a weekly segment of name-dropping old people.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's his gimmick now, is that legends like me, which is weird because he used to be the legend killer.
And he did the table for three thing with Bruno Sammartino.
Did he really?
Yeah, it was good.
Was that on Raw this week? Or after Raw this week?
No, was it this week?
It would be, because last week one was with Jimmy Cornette and
Eric Bischoff,
Eazy-E.
and Michael Hayes,
Yeah.
I can't remember who the third person was in that Randy Orton episode. Anyway, the main event was Shinsuke Nakamura versus Kevin Owens. Nakamura won.
Shock. Yeah. Fine little match. I quite enjoy it. I really like Kevin Owens, really like Nakamura, and I just don't like seeing Kevin Owens lose 3 weeks on the bounce to the same guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd think that that's leading towards a US title match, but they're not doing that at the pay-per-view.
You know what that means, though? Owens is winning Money in the Bank.
Oh, yeah, you reckon?
You beat the person all the time because they get in the briefcase, and then you
Yeah.
can beat them all the time they've got the briefcase, and then they cash it in, and it's all forgotten. No, it isn't. I'm being facetious here. That's WWE's way of thinking.
I'm still picking Baron Corbin to
Yeah,
win.
he looked strong at the end of this.
Didn't he just? And man alive, did Shinsuke take that end of days like an absolute champ. Oh, it was great.
The problem with this match was, for me, was first the commentary. I thought they spoke to Baron Corbin way too much. Just like, please, cool the action. This is like, WWE commentary is bad in general. It really got to me in this match. I don't know why, it just irked me more. The second bad thing is Ring of Honor later on put up their match of Shinsuke Nakamura versus Kevin Owens from 2014 War of the Worlds, which would probably have been about 3 years ago to the month. And I just watched the first 5 minutes of it, and I was like, oh my God. The matches were so much better.
Yeah.
Nakamura cared. Owens, or Steen back then, can, be just so much more engaging. The fans are into it. The commentary was Kevin Kelly and Steve Corino, both excellent commentators.
Yeah, dream team.
So that was, I just felt a bit...
Yeah, I mean, you can't do it. It'd be like if when AJ Styles and Samoa Joe have their eventual match, what I'm not going to do is go back and watch like TNA 2006 and be like, I'm going to watch that Unbreakable triple threat match with Daniels. That'll get me excited for it.
It's my own fault. So just quickly to wrap up, which was better for you this week? To be fair, it was a pretty good week for WWE wrestling. I thought Extreme Rules was pleasantly okay. Raw I thought was cracking, and Smackdown was mighty fine. I've probably just given away my own answer. I'm choosing Raw.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm actually going to pick Raw as well. I mean, this very rarely happens where I think that Raw is the better show. But yeah, I'm super into Raw at the moment, and that's mostly down to Samoa Joe. But I really like the Enzo and Big Cass angle, because I'm hoping that's going to lead into something big at SummerSlam. Big Cass, and but at the same time, I thought SmackDown was a really decent show. It's just like SmackDown didn't have like a standout match. I feel like that's what would really let SmackDown down this week.
Yeah.
So for me, it was Raw. But you're right.
Raw up, SmackDown down.
That's right. Yeah, left, right, A, B starts. Konami code. But so you're right. It's a great week. So we had good Extreme Rules. Spoilers for Saturday show. Good Raw. Good SmackDown. Apparently 205 Live was very good. Going by the main event at the very least. Mate, what's going to happen with NXT? NXT's got some big matches this week as well. So hot damn, we might be in for a really solid week at WWE TV.
Brock Lesnar up next.
Yes.
Then we've got the go home show for SmackDown.
Amazingly
and then
so.
Money in the Bank.
Yeah. I hope you enjoy your weekend off of pay-per-views this week.
We had a bad month in May and half of April. It was tough going for WWE, but we're confident as in battered, beaten up WWE fans. It will take a lot for us to quit, and hopefully they're rewarding our patience. The E works in mysterious ways, but that's all we've got time for in this episode. You will see some videos that have just appeared over Luke's face. Click those to catch up with the latest episodes of the WrestleTalk News or the WrestleRamble. Of course, subscribe to WrestleTalk down there and support WrestleTalk on Patreon. This is Luke Owen. I've been Ollie Davis. Stop muttering over me! And that was Rambling.